Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. It is January the 24th. Jerry is here because he wanted to say hello and he wanted to assure everybody that he would be on the job early next week taking care of me. So the reason he's going to do that is because next Monday morning I am undergoing a bit of a medical procedure. It is routine. It is not serious. I am not sick, but it does need to be done. I am going to be put under anesthetic, and there is going to be an invasion into my body, into my physical body with medical tools, etc. So I anticipate that you will not hear from me on Monday or Tuesday. I may or may not be back on Wednesday. By Thursday, I should be raring to go. Do not be surprised if little short 10 or 15 minute videos surface, just kind of giving you an update if I get any significant impressions or thoughts that I want to pass on. But he's ready to play nurse. So we're all going to be good. Okay, thank you. I'm sure everybody is reassured. All right. Secondly, I know that the recording sound when I use this mic is not as good. It sounds tinny. And I apologize for that, but my other speaker is having a bit of a technical glitch. And so it was this or nothing. So I figured we would go with this. So, okay. So there's one more thing I want to show you that is just really interesting to me. So, back with my pendulum. And this is this weird little anomaly thing that I have been noticing in the last short bit. So, for those of you who don't remember or are new to this channel, I'm just going to zip along with this. The back and forth motion, like that, is a yes, and round and round is no. So, interesting. Watch this. Is Donald Trump going to complete this term as president? Now that's a yes. It's kind of a choppy yes. Let's try it. Is he going to complete this term? Oh, okay. It's moving into a no. Okay, let's try it this way. Is Donald Trump going to leave office early? Okay, and that one's getting a yes. So I've asked the same question. I've just used slightly different words, and I keep getting a yes, then no, yes, then no. So my takeaway from that, and I did confirm, is that there literally is not a clear-cut answer right now as to whether or not he is going to be leaving office. And they're saying, yeah, that's correct. Like, it's just not clear yet. Is he going to be found guilty during this trial? And the answer is no. And is that going to significantly damage the Republicans' reputation going forward? And that is yes. Are there still going to be some very stunning surprises that surface with regards to Trump or the Trump family that could put his presidency in jeopardy? That is a yes. And sorry, the next question I had just flew out of my head. Just give me a second. Let me see if I can drag it back here. Is Trump going to win the next election? Okay, I am still getting a very, very definite no on that. I have read in the comments that some other readers are saying that he's going to win re-election. I am still very clearly and frankly quite profoundly with a great deal of enthusiasm, getting a no here. Stop. So an interesting thing. Something is going on and everything really does seem to be up in the air. So I guess my reason for telling you this is to simply not lose hope. You know, hang in there. There's a lot in flux right now. There's a lot that's changing and going on. And there just aren't clear-cut answers to some things right now. And my final question is, okay, so the way I understand it, something like 69% of Republicans and 82% of Democrats feel that it is incredibly necessary to have witnesses and documents. And that number keeps growing like every day, you know, because I think that worked out to like 72% or something like that. But every day that number keeps rising. So it's going to be interesting. Are the Republicans going to be, or can they be influenced by those polls and by phone calls that are being made into their offices? And yeah, that's a definite yes. So at this point, you know, I'm not even clear if he's not going to be found guilty. It's just everything is up in the air. So keep your thoughts, thank you, Pendulum, keep your thoughts really positive, and hopeful, because I think that is the best way to handle this. Now, there's one other thing that I just wanted to share with you. This just came up on my news feed. As reported by the New York Times, it is saying Iran's attack on U.S. troops in Iraq this month left 34 with serious brain injuries, the Pentagon has said. President Trump dismissed those traumatic brain injuries as a headache. There he is, folks. There's your president. Okay, so since I'm going to be sort of not available for the next couple, and that reminds me, comments, responding to comments may take a little longer. If you send me an email, I will get to it. I just can't promise that I'll get to it quickly. Okay, so let's just do a bit of a dive, and let's just see overall how is the trial being received across the United States. So even Fox, you know, not the talking heads, but that previous judge, Chris Wallace, those kinds of people, even they are saying, you know what, listen, it is a ridiculously strong case. There has been no defense for any of this behavior coming up yet. They have every reason to find him guilty and remove him from office. So, you know, again, how many people are there? Just those people who just watch that Hannity and that other Ingram chick or whatever her name is? You know, or are there people out there who are actually watching this and going, oh my God, like I had no idea this was going on. I wasn't learning this from my news channel. So I want to see, come on down. Let's find out how America is receiving and responding and reacting to the trial of, oops, hold on, Donald Trump. What came flying out? Okay, so the two that came flying out were the 10 of Wands, which is talking about carrying a heavy burden. It's a heavy load. And sort of the famous quid pro quo card. So just off the top, I'm going to tell you that for some people, this is almost like shocking because they really have been ill-informed. And I think for a lot of people, what they are going to find most offensive is the whole, you know, quid pro quo, honestly, that word. So, you know, what it's saying is, in fact, that they're not liking what they're hearing. There's going to be the diehards. We don't need to concern ourselves with them because it doesn't matter what he does or doesn't do. They're never going to see any fault in it. But I think for the average person who maybe has just been busy living their life, I think that they might be finding this a little bit shocking. So let's see. America responds to trial. America responds to trial. America responds to trial. Oh boy. Okay. So there's a couple of things that are sort of really hitting people. And this isn't all of them. And again, this is not the forever Trump people. Okay, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the farmers on the plains. I'm talking about, industries. I'm thinking, for some reason, I'm really thinking about the fishing industry. Those people have been really, really hurt by what is going on, although they tried to stay really true to him. So how are they responding? And what it's showing is that there is just a sense of they're trying to grasp it. It's a lot to swallow if you've really been not paying attention, or you just sort of weren't following the ins and outs of it. So as it's being presented now, people are getting some real clarity on exactly what has been going on. The communications that the Democrats, the way they are communicating has been nothing short of brilliant. It has been so clear. The media message has been so fluid and so consistent. And so it's easy for people to follow. It makes sense. It's logical. So I think that it is actually being more well received, I think, than maybe we realize or appreciate right in this moment. I keep saying this. People expect politicians to be a little bit shady. We get that. We accept it. But what, again, people are discovering is this is beyond the pale. This is way more than just a little bit shady. This is really behavior not only unbecoming of a president, but behavior unbecoming of your country and what your country is supposed to stand for. So they're not liking it. It's not going over kind of, I think maybe the way the Republicans assumed or thought it would go over. That's not what's happening here. It is definitely creating a change of fortune for the Republicans, and the new insights they're gaining are going to ultimately end up, breaking the Republicans' hearts, because it's just not cool. Okay, so let's carry on. Okay, so now you have the king and queen sitting side by side of wands. So again, the communication is it's forceful. It's hitting the mark. People are hearing it. They're understanding it. They're responding well to it. Okay, and that's been followed here by the King of Cups. Now, this is sometimes representative of Mitch McConnell, and that's sort of how I'm reading it right now. He still actually thinks that he can pull off a victory. And part of the reason that he thinks that is because he's expecting the Republicans to simply toe the party line. And he believes at this point he has enough control or sufficient control to make that happen. But I can tell you, if he figures out a way to block witnesses and documents if he prevents that additional information coming out and being shown in basically the light of day, he is going to have so much that he's going to try to push back against. It's not even almost bearable, okay? And as he feels that grip loosening on his caucus, what you're going to find is that he will do whatever it takes to hang on to his majority. That is his bigger priority. His bigger priority is not keeping Trump in office, although that's a nice side benefit as far as he's concerned. But his focus and his priority is keeping things under his control. And when he starts to feel that is slipping, when he starts to feel that he's getting backed into a corner, you might see actually some really dramatic changes. There's still a lot of information that's going to be coming out, and it's going to be continuing to come out quite rapidly. I'm still getting new communications, new things that the American people are going to hear about, see about, read about. And that also seems to be sort of shifting the dynamic of how the average American is responding to this. There definitely needs to be more of a push to get a push moving along for justice to prevail. People are going to need to change their attitudes. They're going to need to change the way they view things and look at things. So all is not lost at this point, okay? There are definitely going to be changes, so new things and new beginnings can start. Trump is trying to hang on as best he can. His latest thing I understand was he was complaining yesterday or this morning that his defense team is going to have to start their defense tomorrow morning on a Saturday when the ratings are way lower than during the week. And so he is already starting to push back and fight back. It'll be interesting to see if McConnell comes up. And I did say this earlier, I'm pretty sure, that it'll be interesting if McConnell doesn't come up with a reason or an excuse why they need to take Saturday off and Sunday, of course, and so that the defense can actually start fresh on Monday. I also understand that the defense is planning, a bit of a hard lift for them there. They are planning on using videotape, etc. You know, they're kind of taking a playbook out of the Democrats' presentation. I'm curious to know, frankly, if they're just going to show a continual looping video presentation of Trump just continually saying, there's no collusion, there's no collusion, there's no collusion. Because, you know, there's no obstruction, there's no obstruction, there's no obstruction, right? Because that really is like his mantra, right? So it'll be interesting to see if they manage to come up with, you know, something more interesting to watch than that. But there's definitely change coming. The emperor is not secure anymore. He is not sitting securely in his throne. There's too much going on around him, and there's still information that is going to continue to come out about business overseas. Now, whether that is more about interactions with Putin, whether there is more to be told about the Ukraine story that we haven't heard yet, whether it is interactions with China or Saudi Arabia, I don't know. I just really feel that there's going to be more information coming out that has a bit of more of an international flavor. It is outside the boundaries, if you will, of your country. There's a lot of fighting going on. Oh my God, there is so much friction going on behind the scenes because they had to sit there. They're going to be sitting there for 3 straight days, 24 hours, and they're having to listen to these indictments coming down. They're having to listen to the evidence pile up. They're having to witness that sort of repetitive commentary. And, you know, there's a method to the madness. It might get a little hard to listen to the same over and over, but there's a reason for it. It drills, and it's not different. It is not different than the rhythm or the behavior that Trump uses when he just repeats things over and over and over again. It doesn't even matter if they're true. He's just very busy repeating them. So there is friction. Even his defense team, really, Mitch McConnell, they just wish he would be quiet. And of course, he's not going to do that because he knows better than everybody. So again, more information coming out. The defense team is having kind of a hard time of this. Oh my goodness, like a lot of scraping and fighting. You're going to get some interesting news from them. They're going to maybe score a point or two. And you know what? Let's hope so, for goodness sakes. Because if the best that a defense lawyer or team of lawyers can say about somebody is, yeah, he did it, but you know what, so what, big deal? Or he did it, but it wasn't really a crime, which is nonsense. Let's hope that they're able to at least score a couple of points in their favor, because otherwise, they've been a pretty pathetic defense team, frankly. There's going to be some judgments being passed down. Part of it, I think, is that the defense team is going to be embellishing. Isn't that a nice word? Embellishing the truth. They're going to just be playing loose and fast with it, okay? And there is going to come some sort of a reckoning inside that Senate chamber. Now, I don't know if Chief Justice Roberts is going to suggest to them that it is not cool to blatantly lie in front of a Chief Justice. It is not cool to blatantly lie in front of the Senate. I'm not sure, but it's definitely showing that as the defense team gets more and more backed into that corner as they realize it's too heavy a burden to lift, you're going to see them doing and saying some things that really do not work in their favor ultimately. It may be a great soundbite for Fox News, the talking head part of Fox News, but it's not going to go over well, and there is definitely going to be judgment passed. And the people of America are not going to like it. They do not like, nobody likes being treated like they're stupid and that this is too complicated for you to understand. It's not complicated at all. There is a corrupt president who is going to do whatever it takes to win the next election, and if that involves cheating or involving foreign countries or anything else, he is absolutely prepared to do it, because he, of course, is hoping that if he can just escape this, maybe he can sort of rebuild up his reputation and somehow once again become, respected. As opposed to it being a great big black mark that he was impeached, he wants to have the opportunity to turn it into a smudge. I don't know that he's going to get that. Oh, yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be getting that opportunity. But in the back of Trump's mind, that's what he thinks. And the defense thinks if they just keep pushing forward and pushing forward and pushing forward, it's going to work out for them. It's not, the American people are not fools. They're going to see very clearly how this is unfolding, and they're not going to like it very much. And the other thing that I would not be surprised if for some reason the defense portion of this trial gets delayed until Monday, completely expect that like CNN and MSNBC are going to have created like almost review packages. So for people who maybe have not been able to watch it throughout the week, they're going to be replaying a lot of stuff. So that information, what is going on, what has been going on behind the scenes, is all going to come to the surface one way or the other. And there's the other card for Trump. So again, very defensive. And more than that, as I look at these three cards, it is almost as if the American people are looking at him and saying, really? Like, honestly, this is how little you care about our country, our reputations. This is how little you care about the voters that voted you into office, that you will just trample over everything. It is not going to be well received. And ultimately, the American people are going to start to feel like there really needs to be sort of some justice served in this, so that they can kind of take a deep breath and kind of celebrate the fact that at the very least you are starting to get the United States healed again, that maybe this can come to a bit of an end. So again, when it comes right down to it, it is the communication with the senators that is actually going to turn the tide. It is going to be people phoning in and etc., just demanding witnesses and demanding the documentation. Yesterday evening, oh my goodness, I've forgotten his name. I think his last name is King, and he is one of the senators from Maine. He runs as an independent, tall, distinguished man with gray hair and a mustache. He said, he was telling everyone that the phone calls coming into his office, now he is an independent who caucuses with the Democrats, okay? But he said the phone calls coming into his office were 95% get the documentation, get the witnesses on the stand. So that's definitely building. And I actually feel as if that same energy is going to be building in the red states and for sure in the purple states. So right now there is a very, very strong attempt. The Democrats are trying to bring the truth to the surface, and the American people are starting to really demand the truth comes to the surface. Okay, there are going to be those who aren't going to believe it. It doesn't matter. He could literally confess. Okay, that's not even true, because he's done that about 100 different times in 100 different ways. But he could actually say, you know what, people, I'm totally guilty of this stuff. I totally did it. And they would just justify it, and they would say, oh, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not talking about those people. In some ways, they're just too far gone right now to find center again. I'm talking about the average person out there who has pride in their country and who wants to have pride in their presidency and is not liking what they see. So you have skills and talents and secrets, tools at their disposal. You have secrets coming out, the truth coming out, both sides kind of being given an opportunity to show their thing. And ultimately, we end up with the 10 of Swords. So I'm just going to cut the deck because I want to know who the 10 of Swords is, what that represents. As the secrets come out, this is going to be what happens to the Republicans and the Republican Party. Okay, so thank you again for all of your support, all of the confidence that you have in me to keep telling the story as best I can, as clearly as I can. I am going to miss you over the next few days, I'm quite sure. But as I said, if anything really significant happens, I will pop on. I'll probably be in my house coat, and you'll probably just see the cards on the table. But if there's something really significant, I will be hopefully out there and able to pass along what information I get. So until the next time, take care, be well. Bye.